For more, we can cross now to Washington and talk to our correspondent there, Kethevane Gorjestani. Kethevane, what message does President Biden want to send to President Putin today?
Well, the message is very simple and very clear on the side of the White House. They want Joe Biden to tell Vladimir Putin very directly that the cost of possibly invading Ukraine would be extremely high. There would be very high sanctions, ramped up sanctions, economic sanctions on some of Vladimir Putin's closest allies, sanctions on the Russian financial sector, on the Russian energy sector, and to put some more weight to the threat of these sanctions. There has been a lot of emphasis put by the White House on how coordinated this threat of economic sanctions has been with allies. Yesterday, Joe Biden spoke to French President Emmanuel Macron, as well as the prime ministers of the UK, of Italy, and the German Chancellor. They put out a statement of intent, basically showing that there is a coordinated message, there is a coordinated policy between these allies, and that they're on the same page when it comes to dealing with Vladimir Putin and the situation with Ukraine. Secretary of State Tony Blinken also speaking to the Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky yesterday, and Joe Biden is expected to speak to the Ukrainian President in the next few days to sort of tell him directly what happened with Vladimir Putin, so that the Ukrainians know exactly where the United States stands and how it's going to support them. So Joe Biden showing that diplomacy, allies, everyone is aligned in dealing with Vladimir Putin right now.
But Kethevane, if that diplomatic argument doesn't prove successful during this call today, do we know what other options Biden now has to try and avert conflict in Ukraine?
Well, there was a briefing with reporters by a senior administration official yesterday, and there was that question directly asked, even more directly, as to whether the United States was ready, if all else fails, to actually intervene militarily to help Ukraine defend itself against a Russian invasion. And that senior administration official didn't fully say there will be no military intervention, but the way they put it was that the U.S. was not seeking to end up in a circumstance in which the focus of our countermeasures is the direct use of military force. So you're seeing there that the Americans really do not want to get even close to the situation where they would have to make the decision of intervening militarily or not. They want to end this way before that question is even asked. As to what other options there are, these economic sanctions are the first round of threats, basically, against Vladimir Putin. But the Americans have made it very clear that they will continue and even ramp up military support for the Ukrainians, and also that they're going to ramp up presence and support for NATO allies, especially on the eastern flank. And that is something, of course, that the Russians are not too happy with. They don't want to see more NATO presence, more American presence on its borders with those NATO allies. And that's something that the Americans have also said, that if Russia were to invade Ukraine, it would make even more sense for Americans and for NATO allies to sort of ramp up their presence on that eastern flank. And so the Russians, that message is to them: you don't want to see us getting closer? Well, don't come into Ukraine, and don't give us a reason to put more presence there.